The crystal champagne flute trembled slightly in my hand as I watched my husband transfer $2.4 million from my account with a casual tap on his phone. The gathered faces of his family glowed with satisfaction in the warm lighting of our dining room, like cats who'd just cornered a particularly juicy mouse. My name is Paris, and I've spent the last 5 years being the perfect, dutiful wife to Lawrence Blake, the kind who smiles and nods when her mother-in-law suggests she's spreading herself too thin at work, the sort who pretends not to notice when her husband helps manage her finances because you're so busy with your career, darling. To Paris! Lawrence raised his glass, his perfect white teeth gleaming, the best earner in the family. And the most trusting, his father Alfred chuckled, swirling his bourbon. Thank God Lawrence knows what he's doing with money, unlike some people. I forced my lips into the same placid smile I'd perfected over years of family dinners. I'm just grateful to have such a supportive family to help me. Oh, sweetie! Sylvia, my mother-in-law, reached across the table to pat my hand. We all know how overwhelming these things can be for someone like you. Remember that disaster with the investment portfolio last year? The disaster she referred to was me questioning why Lawrence had liquidated my tech stocks without consulting me. I'd learned to stop asking such questions openly. Speaking of investments, Lawrence announced, I've moved Paris's bonus to our joint management account. We've got some exciting opportunities lined up. Kayla, his sister, raised an eyebrow. The full amount? Of course, Lawrence winked at her. Paris trusts me completely, don't you, honey? I nodded, taking a small sip of champagne. Completely. The conversation drifted to Alfred's latest yacht purchase, but I kept count in my head. 3, 2, 1. My phone buzzed quietly in my lap. I didn't need to look at it to know what the notification said. But I did anyway, careful to keep my expression neutral as I read, Transfer complete. Irrevocable trust to 2467 2.4 E. Everything okay? Lawrence asked, noticing my glance at the phone. Just work, I said softly. Nothing important. You work too hard, Sylvia interjected. A wife should focus more on her husband's needs. When I was your age, I let her words wash over me, nodding at appropriate intervals while my mind calculated the next steps. The transfer was clean, untraceable. Geoffrey had made sure of that. More champagne, dear? Alfred's voice cut through my thoughts. Please. I held out my glass, watching the bubbles rise. Each one felt like a tiny victory. Later that night, after the family had left and Lawrence was snoring softly beside me, I slipped into my home office. The clock read 2:17 a.m. as I logged into my secure email. Transfer confirmed, all documentation in place. Proceeding to phase 2? Geoffrey's message waited for me. I thought about Lawrence's smirk as he moved my money, about Sylvia's condescending pats, about Alfred's dismissive chuckles. 5 years of careful documentation, of playing the willing fool, of building my case piece by piece. My fingers hovered over the keyboard for just a moment before I typed, Confirmed, execute phase 2. As I closed the laptop, my phone lit up with a text from Valerie. You okay? I smiled, a real smile this time, not the practiced one I wore at dinner. Better than okay, I wrote back. The fish took the bait, all of them. Standing at my office window, I watched the city lights twinkle below. Tomorrow, Lawrence would wake up thinking he'd secured another victory over his naive wife. He'd probably brag about it to his father, maybe even to that bartender he thought I didn't know about. Let them laugh, let them think they've won. After all, the best trap is the one your prey walks into willingly, believing they're the predator. I touched the small recording device hidden in my necklace, the one I never took off, the one Lawrence had given me on our anniversary. For memories, he'd said, if he only knew how right he was. The champagne from earlier still buzzed pleasantly in my system, but it wasn't the alcohol making me feel light. It was the knowledge that after tonight, everything would change. The pieces were all in place. I slipped back into bed beside my husband, listening to his steady breathing. "Sweet dreams, darling," I whispered, knowing they would be his last peaceful ones for a very long time. 6 months earlier, I sat in Jeffrey's corner office, watching rain streak down the floor-to-ceiling windows while he reviewed the trust documents one final time. "You understand the gravity of what you're setting up here?" He peered at me over his reading glasses. "Once the money goes into this trust, Lawrence can't touch it. But if he discovers you've been moving assets without his knowledge—" "He won't," I said, smoothing my skirt. "He stopped checking the fine print on anything I signed years ago. Too boring, he says." Valerie, my financial advisor and oldest friend, cleared her throat. "Show him the recordings, Paris." I pulled out my phone and played the video from last Christmas. Lawrence's voice filled the office. "Just get her to sign here. She never reads this stuff anyway. Too many big words." Laughter. "God, I love having a wife who trusts me completely." Jeffrey's expression hardened. "How long have you been collecting evidence?" 3 years, 2 months, and 14 days. I switched to another recording. This one's from the day he forged my signature on the beach house mortgage. The video showed Lawrence and his sister Kayla in his home office. "Paris doesn't need to know," he was saying. "She'd just worry her pretty little head about it. Besides, what's hers is mine, right?" "Jesus," Jeffrey muttered, scribbling notes. "And you're sure about the surveillance equipment in your house?" "Donovan handled the installation personally. Everything's untraceable." Valerie leaned forward. "Tell him about the accounts." I pulled out a folder and spread documents across Jeffrey's desk. I've been moving small amounts, nothing noticeable, into separate accounts for the past 2 years. Lawrence thinks I'm just bad at math when the numbers don't quite add up. And the trusts. 3 of them, all irrevocable, all under my maiden name. The paperwork looks like standard investment portfolios to anyone who doesn't know what to look for. Jeffrey whistled low. "You've been busy." "I learned from the best." I smiled without humour. The Blakes taught me everything about hiding money. They just didn't realise I was paying attention. A knock at the door made us all jump. Jeffrey's assistant poked her head in. "Mr. Jensen, your next appointment is here. Give me 5 minutes, Sarah." He turned back to me. "You're playing a dangerous game, Paris. If this goes wrong—" "It won't." I gathered my papers, because they'll never see it coming. To them, I'm just the trophy wife who got lucky in marketing, the cash cow they can milk whenever they want. Valerie touched my arm. "You don't have to do this alone." "I'm not." I squeezed her hand. "I have you two, and Donovan. Speaking of which," I checked my phone. "He should be finishing the last camera installation right now." As if on cue, my phone buzzed. "All set," Donovan's text read. "You won't believe what I found in Lawrence's desk." I showed the message to Jeffrey, who immediately reached for his phone. "Don't tell me. Let me guess. More forged documents?" "Only one way to find out." I stood up, gathering my belongings. I should get home before Lawrence does. He likes me to be there when he arrives. Something about a wife's proper place. "Paris?" Jeffrey's voice stopped me at the door. "Be careful. Men like Lawrence, they don't take kindly to losing control." I thought about the bruise on my wrist from last week when I'd questioned a strange withdrawal from our joint account. I know exactly what Lawrence is capable of. That's why this has to be perfect. Back home, I found Donovan's package waiting in my private mailbox. Inside was a USB drive and a single sheet of paper. My hands shook as I read it. A second mortgage on our primary residence, dated 3 months ago. My signature looked perfect, too perfect. I pulled up the banking app on my phone and checked our mortgage payments. Sure enough, they'd nearly doubled, but Lawrence had explained it away as a tax adjustment. My phone buzzed again. A text from Lawrence. "Big news! Dad's letting me in on a new development deal. Need to move some money around. You trust me, right, baby? I typed back immediately. Of course I trust you. Whatever you need. Then I forwarded screenshots of the forged mortgage document to Jeffrey and Valerie, adding, "Found our smoking gun." Valerie responded first. "Holy shit! This is better than we hoped. He's going to lose everything." "No," I wrote back. "They're all going to lose everything." I heard Lawrence's key in the door and quickly deleted the messages. Time to become the perfect wife again, at least for a little while longer. "Honey, I'm home," he called out. "Where's my beautiful, trusting wife?" I took a deep breath, pasted on my practice smile, and went to greet my husband. "Right here, darling, right where I always am." The morning after the dinner party, Lawrence's panic call to his father woke me at 6 a.m. I lay still, pretending to sleep while he paced our bedroom. "It's gone, Dad. The whole transfer. It's just gone." His voice cracked. "No, I checked every account. Twice." I shifted slightly, letting him know I was waking up. He immediately switched to a whisper. "I'll call the bank when they open. Maybe it's just a glitch." He paused. "No, she hasn't noticed. You know Paris, she probably doesn't even remember how much her bonus was." I stretched and sat up, rubbing my eyes. "Everything okay, honey?" Lawrence's face transformed instantly into a reassuring smile. "Just some work stuff, baby. Go back to sleep." "Is it about the transfer? I got a weird notification last night." His eyes sharpened. "What kind of notification?" I reached for my phone, making a show of scrolling through messages. "Something about a failed transfer. I figured you'd handle it." "Show me." He practically snatched the phone from my hands. I think I deleted it. I bit my lip, the picture of confusion. Should I be worried? No, no. He kissed my forehead. "I'll take care of everything. Why don't you make us some coffee?" In the kitchen, I heard him making more calls. By the time Sylvia arrived for our weekly family breakfast, her idea of keeping me in line, Lawrence was barely containing his hysteria. "Have you called the fraud department?" Sylvia stirred her tea aggressively. "Paris, darling, you really should be more careful with your banking passwords." "My passwords?" I blinked innocently. "Well, obviously someone got into your account." She exchanged looks with Lawrence. "Unless you did something with the money?" I let my lower lip tremble slightly. "I wouldn't know how." "Exactly." Sylvia patted my hand. "This is why we keep telling you to let Lawrence handle the finances. You should stick to simpler things, dear. It's clearly beyond you." I ducked my head to hide my expression, using the moment to activate the recording device in my necklace. These conversations were gold for the emotional abuse documentation. "Mom's right," Lawrence said, his tone patronizing. "Just let me handle this. You focus on your little marketing projects." My little marketing projects had earned me that $2.4 million bonus, but I just nodded meekly. The doorbell rang, right on schedule. "That must be Kayla," Sylvia said. "She's bringing those investment papers for Lawrence to sign." I excused myself to answer the door, using the moment alone to send a quick text to Donovan. "They're all here. Start recording." Kayla breezed in, designer handbag bulging with documents. "Paris, you look tired, stressed about the money." "What money?" I forced a nervous laugh. "Lawrence says everything's fine." Of course it is." Kayla's smile didn't reach her eyes. "We're family. We take care of our own." In the dining room, she spread papers across the table. I pretended to focus on refreshing coffee cups while watching her slip a power of attorney form into the stack. My hidden camera caught everything. "Paris," Lawrence called, "could you give us a minute? This is boring business stuff." "Actually," I hesitated, playing my part perfectly. "Could I sit in, just to learn?" The look that passed between the siblings spoke volumes. "Better not," Kayla said smoothly. "Wouldn't want to overwhelm you." I nodded and left, but not before catching Lawrence's whispered words to his sister. "She's getting curious. We need to move faster." In my home office, I connected to the hidden cameras. The footage was crystal clear. Lawrence and Kayla signing documents with practiced efficiency, including one with a remarkably good forgery of my signature. My phone buzzed, Donovan confirming he had everything recorded. I forwarded the live feed to Jeffrey with a single question. "Enough?" His response came quickly. "More than enough, but there's something else you should see." The attachment he sent made my blood run cold. A joint power of attorney form naming Kayla as co-executor of Lawrence's business interests. The date was 3 years ago, right when the financial manipulation had started ramping up. My supposedly uninvolved sister-in-law had been pulling strings all along. Another text from Donovan. Audio caught Lawrence telling Kayla, and I quote, "Paris is too stupid to notice. She actually thinks I love her." I closed my eyes, letting the words sink in. Not because they hurt. I'd stopped feeling pain from their insults long ago. No, I was savouring them. Every recorded word, every forged signature, every condescending comment was another nail in their coffin. Opening my eyes, I touched the necklace camera and whispered, "I think it's time for phase 3. From downstairs, I heard laughter. My husband and his family, probably congratulating themselves on another successful manipulation of poor, naive Paris. Laugh while you can, I thought. The show's about to begin. Jeffrey's office felt different this time, more like a war room than a law firm. Papers covered every surface, and Valerie was connecting her laptop to a large screen on the wall. "The freeze on marital assets goes into effect at midnight," Jeffrey said, sliding documents across his desk. "Once you sign these, Lawrence won't be able to touch anything that's still in joint accounts." My hand didn't shake as I signed. He's going to lose his mind. Let him. Valerie pulled up a series of spreadsheets. "Look at this. We found something interesting about that failed real estate project from last year." The numbers on screen made my stomach turn. "That's a lot of zeros." "Alfred used your social security number as a guarantor," Jeffrey explained. "Without your knowledge or consent, of course. Classic identity theft." I thought back to our first date, Lawrence taking me to that fancy French restaurant. He'd seemed so genuine then, ordering in perfect French, making me laugh with stories about his boarding school adventures. "Paris?" Valerie's voice pulled me back. "We don't have to do this today." "Yes, we do." I straightened my spine. "Show me everything." For the next hour, they walked me through the evidence: forged signatures, unauthorized loans, recorded conversations of Lawrence bragging about how he manipulated me. Each piece of evidence felt like another brick in the wall between who I used to be and who I'd become. My phone rang. Sylvia's number. I put it on speaker. "Paris, dear, are you coming to the charity committee meeting? We're discussing the annual gala." "I can't today, Sylvia. I'm meeting with—" I caught myself just in time. "With a client." "Oh." Her disapproval crackled through the speaker. "Well, I was just telling Mrs. Harrison about you. Poor thing, she was worried about her daughter working too much. And I said, just look at Paris. Brilliant career, but no time for family. No children yet, you know." I met Valerie's outraged eyes across the desk. "Thank you for thinking of me, Sylvia." "Of course, dear." "Oh, and Lawrence mentioned some confusion with the accounts. Don't worry your head about it. Men are just better with these things." After I hung up, Valerie exploded. "That manipulative Save it," I cut her off. "Just add it to the emotional abuse file." Jeffrey cleared his throat. "Speaking of files, there's something else you need to see." He handed me a thick folder. "We found these in the record subpoena." Inside were photos, dozens of them. Lawrence at restaurants with different women. Lawrence on his father's yacht with someone who definitely wasn't me. Lawrence leaving hotels, checking into resorts, always with company. "The oldest ones are from 6 months after your wedding," Jeffrey said quietly. I stared at the images, remembering all the business trips, the late meetings, the weekends when he was helping his father with investments. "Are you okay?" Valerie touched my arm. "I'm fine." I closed the folder. I've known for years. There's a reason I started recording everything. My phone buzzed again. A text from Lawrence. "Where are you? Mum says you skipped the committee meeting." "With clients," I wrote back. "Sorry, honey. You know how work gets. Don't work too hard, baby. Leave the heavy lifting to me." Jeffrey watched me read the message. You know, most people would have snapped by now, lost their cool, confronted them. Most people don't spend 5 years planning their revenge. I stood up, smoothing my dress. "Is everything ready for the gala next week?" Valerie nodded. "The donation is set up in your maiden name. All the paperwork is clean." "Perfect." I gathered my things. "Lawrence wants heavy lifting. Let's see how he handles the weight of his own lies." As I reached the door, Jeffrey called out, "Paris, there's one more thing." He hesitated. "Alfred used your information as guarantor on multiple properties if this goes public. His entire real estate empire could collapse," I finished. "I know." "Are you sure you want to take it that far?" I thought about Sylvia's constant undermining, Kayla's silent complicity, Alfred's patronizing dismissal of everything I'd achieved. But mostly, I thought about Lawrence's face when he transferred my bonus, so certain of his control over me. "They took everything I was and twisted it into what they wanted me to be," I said. "Now they get to watch everything they built collapse around them." Walking to my car, I got another text from Lawrence. "Dinner with Mum and Dad tonight. Wear that blue dress I like, the one that makes you look sweet." I texted back a heart emoji, then called Donovan. "I need you to do something for me. That evidence about Alfred's identity theft? Send copies to every board member of his company. Anonymous email, untraceable. Timing, right in the middle of dinner tonight." I smiled, starting my car. "And Donovan, make sure you're recording when the calls start coming in." Time to put on that sweet blue dress and watch the show. The annual Blake Foundation Gala sparkled with wealth and pretension. I'd chosen a red dress tonight, not the demure pastels Lawrence usually insisted on. The whispers started the moment I walked in alone. "Where's Lawrence?" "Did you hear about the missing money?" "Is that really Paris? She looks different." Sylvia intercepted me at the champagne table, her smile brittle. "Darling, I thought we agreed you'd arrive with the family." "Did we?" I sipped my champagne. Must have slipped my mind, like that board meeting Lawrence had to rush to this afternoon. Her eyes narrowed at my tone. Before she could respond, the event coordinator approached with a tablet. "Ms. Lane, we need your signature for the donation." "Lou Marley?" Sylvia's perfectly sculpted eyebrows rose. "Don't you mean Mrs. Blake?" "No," I smiled, signing with a flourish. "The donation is under my maiden name." The coordinator beamed. $100,000, so generous. We'll announce it during the presentations. Sylvia's face went pale. 100? Paris, does Lawrence know about this? Why would he need to? I met her gaze steadily. "It's my money." She grabbed my arm, manicured nails digging in. "What game are you playing?" "Mrs. Blake!" a reporter materialized beside us. "Sarah Martinez from the Financial Times. I'd love to discuss the Foundation's recent activities." Sylvia's grip loosened. "This isn't the time." "Actually," I cut in, "I'd be happy to chat, Sarah. Shall we find somewhere quiet?" Before Sylvia could object, I let Sarah lead me away. Through the crowd, I spotted Lawrence arriving, his face thunderous. Our eyes met across the room. "Paris!" He strode toward us. "A word, now. I'm in the middle of an interview, honey." I turned back to Sarah. "You were asking about the foundation's finances." Lawrence grabbed my elbow, steering me toward a side room. "Excuse us, please." Once the door closed, his charm vanished. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" "Supporting charitable causes." I straightened my dress. "Isn't that what you always wanted? A wife who contributes to society?" "With my money," I corrected softly. "My bonus, my donation." His laugh was ugly. "Is this about the transfer? You're really not as clever as you think, Paris." "No." I pulled out my phone, showing him the trust account balance. "Are you sure about that?" The colour drained from his face. "How did you—" "The same way I documented every forged signature." I stepped closer. "Every unauthorized loan, every time you and your family laughed about how stupid I was." "You're bluffing." "Check your email. There's a video compilation you might find interesting. I particularly like the part where you tell Kayla how easy it is to manipulate your trusting wife." A knock interrupted us. Kayla poked her head in, face ashen. "Lawrence, Dad needs you. Now. The board members are calling about some emails." I moved toward the door. "Don't worry, I'm leaving. But Lawrence?" I paused, touching my necklace. "You might want to be careful what you say next. You never know who's listening." Back in the ballroom, the donation announcements had begun. I watched Lawrence and Kayla hurry to where Alfred stood, phone pressed to his ear, face purple with rage. "And a special thank you to Ms. Paris Lane for her generous personal donation of $100,000, the announcer's voice rang out. The crowd applauded. Sylvia's champagne glass shattered on the floor. "Ms. Lane?" Sarah the reporter appeared at my elbow. "About that interview, why don't we meet for coffee tomorrow?" I suggested. "I have quite a story for you." "Paris!" Alfred's voice boomed across the room. "What have you done?" Heads turned, phones came out. Perfect. "Me?" I kept my voice light, carrying in the sudden quiet. "I'm just a simple woman who's bad with money. Isn't that what you always said?" "You vindictive little—" "Alfred," I cut him off, "you might want to take that conversation somewhere private, unless you'd like to discuss identity theft in front of all these witnesses." He froze. Behind him, Lawrence was frantically typing on his phone, probably discovering his accounts were frozen. "Oh, and Sylvia," I turned to my mother-in-law, "about what you told Mrs. Harrison. You're right. I don't have children. I was too busy documenting your family's fraud." The room erupted in whispers. Phones kept recording. Tomorrow, the Blake family's carefully constructed facade would be all over social media. As I walked out, Sarah called after me. "Ms. Lane, one question. Why now?" I paused at the door, making sure my voice would carry. "Because sometimes the best revenge isn't just about getting even, it's about getting free." The last thing I heard was Kayla's voice. "Lawrence, the SEC is on the phone." The divorce papers hit the news cycle before Lawrence even received his copy. I watched the story break on my laptop while sitting in Jeffrey's office, sipping coffee as the chaos unfolded. Marketing executive files for divorce amid financial scandal. Blake Foundation under investigation. Identity theft and fraud, a family's web of deceit. My phone hadn't stopped buzzing since dawn. Sylvia had left 12 voicemails, each more hysterical than the last. The latest one played on speaker. "How dare you, after everything we've done for you? Lawrence is devastated." "Devastated about the divorce or the SEC investigation?" Jeffrey interrupted, ending the playback. "Because he should be more worried about the latter." A knock at the door preceded Valerie's entrance. "You need to see this." She held up her tablet, showing a live feed of Lawrence outside his office building, surrounded by reporters. "No comment!" he was shouting, trying to shield his face. "These allegations are completely false." "Mr. Blake," a reporter thrust a microphone forward, "can you explain why your wife's social security number was used to secure loans without her knowledge? Or why the foundation's charitable donations don't match its reported income?" another called out. "My client has no comment," Kayla appeared, playing lawyer. "These are private family matters." "Is it true you forged documents?" someone yelled. "Did you steal your wife's bonus?" I turned off the feed. "How's Alfred handling it?" "Not well." Jeffrey checked his phone. "The SEC froze most of his accounts this morning. That clause in your prenup, the one about retained earnings, it's giving them probable cause to investigate everything." "Sylvia's having a meltdown on social media," Valerie added. "She's claiming you manipulated them, if you can believe the irony." My phone buzzed again, a text from Lawrence. "You think you're so smart? You have no idea what you've started." Before I could respond, Jeffrey's assistant rushed in. "Turn on the news, now!" The office TV flickered to life, showing Alfred at a hastily arranged press conference. He looked older than I'd ever seen him, his usual confidence shattered. "These accusations against my family are outrageous," he was saying. "Paris has always been treated as one of our own." "Is that why you used her identity to secure fraudulent loans?" a reporter shouted. Alfred's face reddened. "Those loans were perfectly legal." "We have copies of the documents," another voice called out. "The signatures don't match. Care to explain?" The camera caught Kayla trying to end the conference, but Alfred pushed her aside. "Now see here, Mr. Blake, what about the foundation's missing funds? Or the offshore accounts? Is it true your son manipulated his wife's finances?" Alfred stumbled, clutching his chest. The feed cut off as medical personnel rushed forward. "Heart attack?" I asked quietly. Jeffrey nodded. "Mild one, according to my sources. He's stable." "Karma's not wasting any time," Valerie muttered. My phone lit up with a call from Sylvia. For the first time I answered. "Are you happy now?" she shrieked. "Alfred's in the hospital because of you." "No, Sylvia, he's in the hospital because his lies caught up with him, just like yours will." "We gave you everything, made you part of our family." "You made me your puppet," I corrected. "There's a difference. Lawrence loved you. Lawrence loved my money, and you loved having someone to look down on." A new voice cut in. Lawrence had grabbed the phone. "You want a war? Fine, I'll destroy you." "Check your email," I interrupted. "There's a video you should watch. Pay attention to the part where you discuss forging my signature with Kayla. The SEC found it particularly interesting." Silence. "Oh, and Lawrence, remember last month when you laughed about me being too stupid to understand investments? I understood enough to record everything." The door opened, and Jeffrey's assistant entered with a document. My lawyer scanned it and gave me a thumbs up. "In fact," I continued, "I understand enough that I just got control of your company's voting shares. Check the prenup clause about retained earnings again, carefully this time." "You can't." "I can. I did. And Lawrence, I'm calling a board meeting tomorrow. Don't bother attending. You're fired." I hung up as he started shouting. "Ready for the next phase?" Jeffrey asked. I nodded, thinking of all the times they'd dismissed me, belittled me, treated me like a pretty fool. "Send in the forensic accountants. Let's see what other secrets the Blakes have been hiding." My phone buzzed one last time. A text from Kayla. "Please, they're still your family." I typed back 4 words before blocking her number. "Family doesn't steal souls." Then I straightened my shoulders and headed for the door. I had a board meeting to prepare for. The mediation room felt too small for the amount of tension it contained. Lawrence sat across the table, flanked by his lawyer and Kayla. Sylvia perched behind them, her usual perfectly coiffed appearance showing signs of strain. Alfred's chair remained empty. He was still in the hospital, "Let's begin," the mediator said, shuffling papers. Ms. Lane has requested this session to present evidence before proceeding with legal actions. Evidence of what? Lawrence scoffed. That she's a vindictive. Jeffrey hit play on the laptop. Lawrence's voice filled the room. Just forge her signature like usual. Paris trusts me completely. She's such an idiot. Kayla's face went white. Sylvia grabbed the table for support. There are 6 hours of similar recordings, I said quietly. Would you like to hear the part where you discuss using my social security number for fraudulent loans? Or maybe the conversation about embezzling from the foundation? You recorded private conversations? Lawrence's lawyer sputtered. That's perfectly legal in our state, Jeffrey interrupted, especially given the criminal activities being discussed. More videos played. Lawrence and Kayla plotting financial manipulations. Sylvia coaching Lawrence on how to gaslight me more effectively. Alfred bragging about using my identity for his real estate schemes. Turn it off, Sylvia whispered. Why? I met her eyes. Isn't this what family does? That's what you always said. Family takes care of its own. We did take care of you, she snapped. No. I stood up, my voice shaking slightly. You broke me down piece by piece, made me doubt myself, treated me like a commodity you could use and discard. Paris, Kayla started. Don't. I cut her off. You were the worst. You watched it all happen, helped him forge my signature, pretended to be my friend while helping them steal everything I earned. Jeffrey placed a thick folder on the table. This contains documentation of every fraudulent transaction, every forged signature, every instance of identity theft. The SEC has copies. So does the FBI. You're bluffing, Lawrence said, but his voice cracked. I pulled out my phone and played one last recording. Lawrence in bed with his latest mistress, laughing about how he'd broken me, made me the perfect docile wife. That's from last week, I said softly, in case you're wondering how long I've known about the affairs. Tears streamed down Sylvia's face. We're your family. Family doesn't steal from each other. Family doesn't break each other down. Family doesn't... My voice broke, and for the first time, I let them see real emotion. Family doesn't make someone feel worthless just because they can. The mediator cleared his throat. Perhaps we should review the proposed settlement. Jeffrey distributed copies. I watched their faces as they read the terms. This is impossible, Lawrence's lawyer protested. You can't demand full financial restitution, public admission of fraud, resignation from all company positions. I ticked off the points. Oh, and Sylvia, the foundation goes to new management. No more using charity for tax evasion. You'll destroy everything we built, Sylvia cried. No, you did that yourselves. I'm just showing everyone the truth. Lawrence stood up suddenly, his chair crashing backward. You think you've won? You're nothing without us. Nothing. Mr. Blake, the mediator warned. I made you, Lawrence shouted. Everything you are is because of me. I stayed seated, calm. No, Lawrence, everything I am is despite you. Sign the papers, Jeffrey said firmly, or we take this to court. Your choice. Kayla spoke up for the first time. We should sign. Traitor, Sylvia hissed. No, Mom, we're the traitors. We did this, all of it. One by one they signed. Lawrence's hand shook so badly he tore the paper. As they stood to leave, I spoke one last time. Lawrence? He turned, hatred burning in his eyes. I was never clueless, I said softly. I just let you reveal who you really were without my interference. You'll regret this, he snarled. You have no idea what I'm capable of. I smiled, not my old submissive smile, but something sharper. Actually, I know exactly what you're capable of. That's why I recorded everything. After they left, Jeffrey touched my shoulder. You okay? I looked at the signed papers. thinking of all the years I'd spent playing the perfect wife, documenting every abuse, building my case, piece by piece. "I'm free," I whispered, and for the first time in years, it was completely true. My phone buzzed, a text from Valerie. "SEC just announced formal charges. It's over." No, I thought, it's just beginning. The autumn breeze carried the scent of coffee as I set up for my workshop in the downtown community centre. Women filtered in slowly, clutching notebooks and wearing expressions I recognised all too well. The careful mask of someone living in financial fear. "Welcome to Protecting Your Assets, a Woman's Guide to Financial Independence," I began, watching their faces. "My name is Paris, and I'm here to teach you what I learned the hard way." A young woman in the front row raised her hand. "Are you the same Paris from the Blake Foundation scandal?" "Yes." I smiled. "That's actually why I started these workshops, because I'm not the only woman who's been financially manipulated by people she trusted." My phone buzzed, a news alert about Lawrence. He'd pleaded guilty to reduced charges in exchange for testimony against his father. The photo showed him leaving court, gaunt and grey-haired, nothing like the polished man who'd once controlled my life. "My husband says I don't need my own account," a quiet voice said. I looked up to see a woman about my age, twisting her wedding ring. "He says it shows I don't trust him." "I'm Haley," she continued. "Something just felt wrong. So I came today." "Trust your instincts," I told her, remembering my own ignored warning signs. "They're usually right." The workshop ran over time, women sharing stories, asking questions, taking notes on how to protect themselves. I gave them Jeffrey's card, watched them input Valerie's number into their phones. Afterward, Haley lingered. "What happened to them? Your husband's family?" I pulled up the morning's news on my tablet. Alfred, convicted of multiple fraud charges, serving house arrest due to health issues. Sylvia, divorced and selling designer bags online to make ends meet. Kayla, disbarred and working as a paralegal in another state. "They lost everything," I said simply, "just like they tried to take everything from me." "Weren't you scared?" "Terrified, but being scared and staying quiet was worse than being scared and fighting back." My phone lit up with a message from an unknown number. I recognized Kayla's writing style immediately. "I know you probably delete these, but I need to say it again. I'm sorry. I chose the easy path instead of the right one. The guilt eats at me every day. Please forgive me." I showed Haley the message. "See this? Abusers often ask for forgiveness when they face consequences, but forgiveness doesn't mean letting them back in." "What will you do?" I deleted the message without responding, just like all the others. "I'll keep teaching women how to protect themselves. That's better than forgiveness." The community centre director poked her head in. "Paris, there's a reporter here. Says she's doing a follow-up story on financial abuse survivors." "Send her in." I turned to Haley. "Want to stay? This might help." Sarah Martinez hadn't changed much since the gala. She set up her recorder as we talked about the workshops, the women I'd helped, the signs of financial abuse everyone should know. "Last question," she said finally. "Do you regret any of it? The recordings, the evidence gathering, the public exposure?" I thought about Lawrence's face when he realised I'd outsmarted him, about Sylvia's shock when her perfect family image shattered, about Alfred's empire crumbling under the weight of his own lies. "No," I said honestly. "Revenge didn't feel like I expected. It wasn't hot or satisfying. It felt like finally being able to breathe." After Sarah left, I found a new text from Valerie. "Trust Fund is helping another domestic violence survivor relocate today. That's 23 women so far." I smiled, remembering the day I'd converted my revenge money into a foundation that actually helped people. The irony of using the Blake's stolen funds to protect other women wasn't lost on me. Haley touched my arm. "I'm going to open my own account tomorrow." Good. I handed her my card. Call me if you need backup. Walking home, I passed the building that used to house the Blake Foundation. New signs advertised a domestic violence resource centre. Inside my apartment, I opened my journal, not to document abuse anymore, but to record victories. Today's entry was simple. Helped another woman find her voice. The best revenge isn't destroying your abusers, it's making sure they can never abuse anyone else. My phone buzzed one last time, Lawrence's number. I blocked it without reading the message, then turned back to my workshop notes. Tomorrow would bring new women seeking help, new stories to hear, new battles to fight. But tonight, in the quiet of my own space, on my own terms, I was exactly where I needed to be. Free, strong, and ready to help others find their way out of the darkness I'd escaped. That wasn't just revenge. That was justice.